Hello class, welcome back. In this online lecture series, today we will be discussing bonding in coordination compounds, which is the topic from MSc Chemistry Semester 2, and myself Dr. Sachin Mishra, Assistant Professor, PG Department of Chemistry, Jayaprakash University, Chhapra. In previous lectures, we have seen about splitting in octahedral, tetrahedral and square planar complexes. In this lecture, we will be discussing following contents. First, factors affecting CFSC. Second, applications of CFSC on hydration energy, on lattice energy and on ionic radii. And lastly, we will discuss about structure of spinels. Let's start. Factors affecting CFSC, and it is also represented as delta, which I have told you in previous class. The first point is oxidation state of metal ion. Now, higher oxidation state, it causes ligands to approach more closely. So, the splitting will be more, and in turn, delta, that is CFSC, will be greater. You can understand this by the example COH2O whole 6 2 plus and COH2O whole 6 3 plus. In this complex, the oxidation state of CO is +2, and in this complex, the oxidation state of CO is +3. The delta O for this complex is 9200 centimeter inverse, and for this complex is 207060 centimeter inverse, which we have already expected because higher oxidation state will lead to ligands to approach more closely and thus more splitting and greater CFSC. Second factor is same oxidation of the metal ion but different number of d electrons. Now, if there are more number of d electrons, in that case there will be more shielding. So, the ligands will not be able to approach the metal ion because of repulsion from the d electrons. This will lead to less CFSC or delta. Now again, let us understand this by the example. See, COH2O whole 6 2 plus, delta O is 9200 centimeter inverse, and NiH2O whole 6 2 plus, delta O is 8500 centimeter inverse. In both these cases, the metal ion is in +2 oxidation state. However, the number of d electrons are different. Here it is D7 and here it is D8. So, this complex in which the number of d electrons are more, CFSC will be less. So, this is less than this complex. Got it? Now, the third factor is principal quantum number. Now, for complexes of metal ions, in which the metal ion have same oxidation state and same number of d electrons, the magnitude of delta for analogous complex within the group, that is from 3D to 4D to 5D, delta increases by 30% to 50% when we move from one series to another. Why this happens? This happens because firstly, the size of d orbitals increase from 3D to 4D to 5D. So what this size does? Due to this increase in size, electron density decreases. Electron density decreases, so there is less shielding, and thus ligands can approach more closely to metal cation, and this will lead to greater CFSC. And second reason is that as the size of metal cation increases, there is less steric hindrance. So less steric hindrance means ligands can approach again more closely, and then delta or CFSC will be greater. Clear? Now let us see the examples. These are three complexes. This cobalt, rhodium and iridium, they belongs to same group. Okay. Cobalt is from 3D series, Rhodium is from 4D series and iridium is from 5D series. As you can see, the delta values are increasing as we move from cobalt to iridium. Okay. Now another factor is nature of ligands. Now see, ligands that cause small splitting are called weak field ligands. Okay, and those ligands which cause large large splitting, they are called strong field ligands. Now the common ligands, they have been arranged in order of their increasing crystal field splitting power to cause splitting of d orbitals from the study of their effects on the spectra of the transition metal complexes. Okay, so from the study of spectra, this spectrochemical series have been devised. On the basis of this, the left hand side ligands, they are weak field ligands, and these at the end they are strong field ligands. Okay, on the basis of this, the CFSC is increasing in this particular order starting from I minus to CO. Okay, when I minus will be ligand, it will be a weak field complex. When CO will be ligand, it will be a strong field complex. Okay, now this series is independent of the nature of the metal cation and the geometry of the complex. Understood? And the last factor is number of ligands. Now more number of ligands, CFSC will be more. As you know, delta T is less than delta O. Now the exception to this are square planar complexes. Delta Sp is greater than both delta T and delta O. Now why this is so? This is because these complexes are usually formed by D8 metal ion of 3D series with very strong ligands. And you all know from spectrochemical series, strong field ligands, what they do? They cause more splitting. That is, delta is more. And otherwise, these complexes are formed by 4D or 5D transition metal cations. Now, 4D and 5D transition metal complexes are having greater CFSC, as I have told you earlier, principal quantum number factor. So, both these reasons causes greater splitting. Therefore, the delta Sp is greater than delta T and delta O. Okay. So, in total, there are 5 factors which affect the CFSC. Now, let us see the applications of CFT. You see, first is hydration enthalpy of transition metal cations. Now, when in an aqueous solution, when the metal cation is dissolved, these metal cation get surrounded by the water molecules. Usually, in the primary hydration sphere, 6 water molecules surround the metal cation, thereby forming an octahedral complex. Now, what is hydration enthalpy? Hydration enthalpy is the energy released when gaseous metal cations get hydrated. Okay, so Mn plus 6H2O gives MnH2O whole 6 N plus complex plus hydration enthalpy. Now across the period, effective nuclear charge increases and ionic radii decreases. You all know this very well. So both these factors, what they do? They bring water molecules closer to metal ion, and thus electrostatic force or electrostatic attraction between metal and water molecules increases, and therefore hydration enthalpy increases across the period. Now let us see in dipositive or tripositive transition metal ion of 3D series. One should obtain a straight line from Ca2 plus to Zn2 plus. Okay, but what was observed? Deviations were observed. So why this was observed? You see, as I told you, 6 molecules of water usually surrounds the metal cation in the primary hydration sphere. So water is a weak field ligand. Hence, a high spin octahedral aqua complex is formed. Therefore, not only hydration enthalpy but CFSC is also evolved along with hydration enthalpy. So the experimental hydration enthalpy is equal to theoretical hydration enthalpy plus CFSC. If only hydration enthalpy has to be taken into account, then we should have obtained this dotted line in which hydration enthalpy should have increased from Ca2 plus to Zn2 plus. But as CFSC is also involved along with hydration enthalpy, therefore this double humped curve is obtained. Okay, now in this curve, what we can see that Ca2 plus, Mn2 plus and Zn2 plus, they are lying on the dotted straight line. Why? Because for this the number of d electrons are d0 for Ca2 plus, d5 for Mn2 plus and d10 for Zn2 plus. So the CFSC is 0. Therefore only theoretical hydration enthalpy is taken into account, which was as expected lying on the dotted line. For other metals, what happens? It deviates from the expected line due to extra CFSC. Now you can see that that hydration enthalpy for V2 plus means vanadium 2 plus and nickel 2 plus is highest. Why? Because both these metal ions have highest CFSC of 1.2 delta O in high spin case. I have told you how to calculate CFSC. Now you can again practice it and calculate, and then you will see that V2 plus and Ni2 plus will have highest CFSC. Therefore, they are having highest hydration enthalpy, experimental hydration enthalpy value compared to other complexes. Okay, is it clear? Now let's move further. Now lattice energy. What is lattice energy? Lattice energy is the change in energy when 1 mole of an ionic crystal is formed from its constituent gaseous ion. M plus plus X minus gives Mx plus lattice energy. Now from Born-Landes equation, lattice energy is equals to minus N naught A Z plus Z minus upon R naught into 1 minus 1 upon N. So we can say that lattice energy is proportional to Z plus into Z minus upon R naught. So let us see what these terms stand for. N naught is for Avogadro's number. A is Madelung constant, which depends upon the geometry of the crystal. Z plus and Z minus are the charges on the cation and anion respectively. R naught is the interionic distance and N is the Born exponent. Okay. So in short, lattice energy, only we have to focus on this, that lattice energy is proportional to charges of multiplication of charges of cation and anion divided by the interionic distance. So again we should expect that lattice energy should increase from Ca2 plus to Zn2 plus as the suppose we are taking Z minus means anion as constant, then from Ca2 plus to Zn2 plus the Z positive will increase and as it is directly proportional to lattice energy, so this will be increasing. A straight line should be obtained, but in this case also deviations are observed. Why? Now suppose we are taking ionic crystal of halides. Now metal ions in these ionic crystal, they occupy octahedral voids. So the coordination number of metal cation is 6. Thus what kind of arrangement is formed? Arrangement of halides around the metal cation is analogous to high spin octahedral complex. So therefore, the CFSC contributes to the experimental lattice energy, and lattice energy decreases irregularly from CaX2 to ZnX2. Okay. Now, in this case also a double humped curve is obtained. Ca2 plus, Mn2 plus and Zn2 plus, they lie on the straight line. Why? Because they are having 0 CFSC. Other metal ions, they deviate due to extra CFSC. Now in weak octahedral field, what as seen previously, V2 plus D3 and Ni2 plus D8 have highest CFSE of 1.2 delta O. Hence these two ions show maxima on the curve above straight line. Okay, am I clear? Good. So the next application of CFT is on ionic radii. Now, in di-positive or tri-positive transition metal ions of 3D series, ionic radii is expected to decrease regularly from Ca2 plus to Zn2 plus in the low and high spin octahedral field. Okay. Why? Because effective nuclear charge increases and there is poor shielding effect of d electrons. Therefore, there will be increase of force of attraction between metal ion and ligands, and thus ligands may approach metal ion closely. Now, what was observed? Some ions showed discrepancies from this regular trend of decreasing ionic radii. So, in high spin case, this kind of graph was obtained, and in low spin case, this kind of graph was obtained instead of this expected dotted line. So, I will explain you it in detail. So what we were expecting a straight line from Ca2 plus to Zn2 plus, but what we observed deviations. Now let us take the cases one by one. For Ca2 plus, Mn2 plus and Zn2 plus, in both high spin and low spin cases, ionic radii decrease smoothly with increasing nuclear charge as these ions are spherically distributed. As these ions have spherically distributed charge, that is CFSE is 0 for these three metal ions. Now let us take the D1, D2 and D3 system in both high spin and weak spin cases. In these systems, electrons they occupy T2G orbitals. Now you know the T2G orbitals lie in the region between the ligands. So the nuclei of these ions are less shielded compared to the case of spherical distribution of electrons. Okay. So the ionic radii decreases as nuclear charge increases. So in these three ions, the ionic radii is decreasing because the electrons they lie in T2G orbital, which is in between the axis. Therefore, there is less shielding and hence less CFS. Okay. Now let us take the weak field case for D4 and D5 system. In this case, what happens? The electrons are successively added to Eg orbitals. Now for D4 ion, addition of first electron, it causes increase of relative radii compared to D3 ion. Why? Because Eg orbitals, they are pointed directly at the ligands, which causes repulsion of ligands and increase in ionic radii. And in D5 ion, another electron is added. So there is much more repulsion of ligands and thus ionic radii further increases. So like D1, D2, D3, the ionic radii was decreasing, but for D4 and D5 again the ionic radii increases. Now D5 it was having a spherically symmetrical field, means CFSE was 0, so it was lying on this straight line. Now let us take the D6 to D10 system. For this, addition of electrons leads to repetition of the same sequence except that the d orbitals are doubly filled. I hope you understand it, but I will explain it. You see in this D6, D7 and D8, what happens? The electrons they are again adding in the T2G orbital. So as was the case for D1, D2 and D3, the ionic radii decreases. And for D9 and D10, what happens? The ionic radii increases. Why? The electrons are because getting filled in Eg orbitals, which face more repulsion. Why? Because they are lying along the axis. Along the axis means the ligands are approaching in this direction, in the direction of the axis, and orbitals are also lying in that direction. So there is more repulsion and therefore there is more CFSE. Okay. Now let us take the strong field case. For D1 to D6 system, the ionic radii decreases until T2G6 configuration is obtained. Okay. Again, T2G orbitals, they lie between the ligands, therefore there is no screening of the nuclear charge. This increased nuclear charge causes increase in force of attraction between metal cation and the ligands, and therefore the ionic radii decreases as expected. But for D7 to D10 system, the ionic radii increases. Why? Because after this, the addition of electrons takes place in Eg orbital. Eg orbital increases the repulsion, and therefore the relative ionic radii increases. Okay. I hope these three points, hydration enthalpy, lattice energy, and ionic radii, are very clear to you. In all these three cases, apart from the theoretically calculated hydration enthalpy, lattice energy, and ionic radii, we have to add the CFSE and see the effect of CFSE on the particular property. Okay. Now let us see spinels. First of all, what are spinels? Spinels are mixed metal oxides. They are having general formula of A2B23O4 or A2OB23O3. Here 2 and 3 are oxidation states of A and B. A is group 2 metal or a transition metal in +2 oxidation state. B is group 13 metal or a transition metal in +3 oxidation state. In this spinel, oxide ions, they form CCP or FCC lattice with 4 octahedral voids and 8 tetrahedral voids per Ab2O4 unit. That is, there are twice the number of tetrahedral voids compared to octahedral voids. Now spinels, they are classified into two categories: normal spinels and inverse spinels. So let us take normal spinels. In normal spinels, A2 plus ions, they occupy 1/8 of tetrahedral voids, and the B3 plus ions, they occupy half of octahedral voids. It can be written as A2 B23O4. Examples of normal spinels are MgAl2O4, MgCr2O4, NiCr2O4, Mn3O4, CO3O4. And in inverse spinels, what happens? A2 plus ions and half of B3 plus ions, they occupy 1/4 of octahedral voids, and half B3 plus ions, they occupy 1/8 of tetrahedral voids. It can be written as B3A2 B3O4. Examples are CrFe2O4, MgFe2O4, NiFe2O4, Fe3O4, and NiAl2O4. Now you must be wondering how you can assign the structures as normal or inverse spinels. So let us see how to predict the structure of spinels. Now whether the spinel is normal or inverse, it is determined by using CFSE of the cations occupying the tetrahedral and octahedral voids. So the metal cations occupying tetrahedral and octahedral voids, they are considered to form tetrahedral and octahedral complexes respectively. Now O2 minus is a weak field ligand, hence we calculate CFSE for high spin complexes, and the adopted structure will be the one with greater CFSE. Now let us understand it with the help of example. Let us take the case of Mn3O4. This Mn3O4 can be written as Mn2 plus Mn2 3 plus O4. Okay. Now in case of normal spinels, what I told you, this +2 ion, it was occupying tetrahedral void, and +3 ion was occupying octahedral void. So the CFSE for D5 ion in case of tetrahedral high spin complex will be equal to 0. Okay. And for D4, it will be 0.6 delta O. Okay. I hope that you all can calculate CFSEs for both octahedral and tetrahedral complexes. I have explained it in detail in my previous lecture. For any doubt, you can again ask me on my WhatsApp number. Okay. So the total CFSE in this case will be 0 delta T plus 2 into 0.6 delta O. Why I have multiplied 2? Because there are two Mn ions in 3 plus oxidation state. Okay, so the net CFSE is 1.2 delta O in this case. Now for inverse spinel case, what was the case? Mn2 plus, it was occupying octahedral void. So the CFSE again for this case D5 is 0. Now Mn3 plus, it occupies half of octahedral void and half of tetrahedral voids. So CFSE is 0.6 delta O plus 0.4 delta T. Total CFSE will be 0 delta O plus 0.6 delta O plus 0.4 delta T. Now we will convert this delta T in delta O. Delta T equals to 4 by 9 delta O. Therefore, the net CFSE is 0.78 delta O. So which value is greater? Obviously 1.2 delta O is greater. So the CFSE for normal spinal is greater than CFSE for inverse spinal. So Mn3O4, it will adopt normal spinal structure. Now let us take another example of Fe3O4. Now again calculate CFSEs for both the normal spinal and inverse spinal structure. Fe2 plus D6 electronic configuration. It will occupy TD void, so CFSE will be 0.6 delta T. For D5 occupying octahedral void, CFSE is 0. Total CFSE we will calculate and it comes out to be 0.27 delta O. In case of inverse spinal, Fe2 plus ion occupies octahedral void. CFSE comes out to be 0.6 delta O. For Fe3 plus D5 configuration occupies octahedral and tetrahedral voids, half. So CFSE is 0 delta O plus 0 delta T. We will add both the CFSEs and the CFSE comes out to be 0.6 delta O. So this 0.6 delta O is greater than 0.27 delta O. The CFSE normal spinal and is less than CFSE of inverse spinal. So Fe3O4 adopts inverse spinal structure. You see, these spinals are very much important for examination as well as for competitive point of view. Okay. For any doubt, you can mail me, you can contact me on my WhatsApp number. Thank you. Have a good day.